أرضها. تيجي أنت النهاردة يا راجل تقول المقاومة مش شريفة؟ عيب.
This is the shocking moment an Al Jazeera journalist and anchor told an Egyptian caller, "Shame on you," just because he said Hamas and Israel are to blame for what is happening in Gaza. He also reprimanded him for calling Hamas a terrorist organization, that it is against their policy at Al Jazeera to use such terms to describe Hamas. Rather, he should call them the resistance. In fact, the journalist lived true to expectation because many have always called Al Jazeera the mouthpiece of Hamas. They can't take half of what they dish out on a daily basis. After we see their heated exchange, we will see a pro-Hamas protester in Washington, D.C. who was busy dishing out his lines but couldn't stand the arrival of a small billboard truck that came to counter him.
انا عايز اوصل فكره بس.
مش الفكره ان انت بتتكلم انه ما يحدث من سلطات الاحتلال هو جريمه ولا في فكره تانية؟
صدقني يعني هو من الجانبين جريمه يعني.
لا لحظه انت قلت من الجانبين، اي جانبين؟
من ناحيه حماس ومن ناحيه اسرائيل.
يعني
حماس ابتدت بالحرب، دخلت يوم.
لا لحظه بس يا اخي الفاضل،
دمرت وقتلت.
لحظه
صح ولا مش صح؟
لا انت مش هتقول، مش بتسالني انا انت بتقول اللي انت عاوزه وانا فقط بضبط الحوار. انا بس انت قلت
ايوه كده. دلوقتي انا بقول لك حماس 7 اكتوبر.
لا ايوه ما هو انت ايوه كده خلاص بقى. يعني انت كل النكبه اللي انت بتتكلم عليها وكل ما تتحدث عنه انه حماس التي دافعت عن أرضها وعن شرفها وقامت لأنها
دفعت إيه بس؟
لحظة يا عم سعد لحظة. أنت ترى نساء
حماس موتت مش إسرائيليين وبس.
طيب أنا عاوز أقول لك حاجة. أنت النهاردة
الفلسطينيين محاصرها
18 سنة يا سعد. ما تسيب الناس تتنفس، ما تسيب الناس تعيش، ولا إيه رأيك في الكلام؟
أنا رأيي زي رأيك.
طيب ماشي.
بس حماس ما سابتش الناس تعيش.
لا سيبك من حماس، انا بكلمك في المطلق.
لو نرجع ل 2007 ماذا فعلت حماس؟ حماس انقلبت على اخواتهم الفلسطينيين.
يعني بص لحظه ايوه مش ما ينفعش تتكلم انت والمستشار بوردينا امبارح طالع من 3 ايام بيقول ما حدش يتكلم في الخلافات الفلسطينيه. انت هتتكلم فيها؟ اذا كان مستشار الرئيس الفلسطيني طلع قال ما حدش يتكلم في الخلافات الفلسطينيه، احنا شعب واحد.
Is this guy part of the mind and thought police? Is this a cult? This is not journalism. His blatant bias is too obvious, and this is why Al Jazeera is banned in many Arab countries, not to talk of other secular countries. Even Egypt has some of their journalists on terror watch list. Why do they allow callers if people can't freely express themselves? Imagine trying to shape the guy's reasoning. So because the Palestinian authorities have told Palestinians not to bring up or say anything about what Hamas did to them in Gaza many years ago, no one else is allowed to talk about it. The Egyptian is not under their control. He can express himself freely.
انت هتيجي تتكلم فيها، قول لي بقى يخرجوا ازاي سلطات الاحتلال، تخرج ازاي من فلسطين واحنا كلنا بنسمع لك.
انا هقول لك.
اتفضل.
السبيل الوحيد السبيل الوحيد ان هم يحرروا الارض دي، يحرروها بطريقه شريفه. في فرق ما بين المقاومه الشريفه وما بين الحركات الارهابيه.
طيب انا لن اكمل معك. بص يا سعد، لانك انت
أنا كل ما اقول حاجه
لا كلامك غير مقبول. المقاومه الفلسطينيه مقاومه شريفه، وانت كلامك غير مقبول. وفي يوم فرح وخروج النساء، اسف مش هقدر اكمل معاك لانك قلت كلام. لا يا عزيزي وقتك انتهى يا استاذ سعد. المقاومه شريفه، والمقاومه العالم كله قال من حق المقاومه ان تدافع عن ارضها، ومن حقها ان تدافع عن كرامتها حتى تحرر ارضها. تيجي انت النهارده يا راجل تقول المقاومه مش شريفه؟ عيب الكلام ده يا سعد.
The problem is these guys don't know that many Arabs share the same opinion with the Egyptian caller. We've published many videos of journalists criticizing Hamas for their atrocities and blaming them for what is going on in Gaza right now. And this caller specifically told him that there's a difference between peaceful resistance and terrorism. Obviously, that's why he couldn't take it and shut the guy off. This is not the first time an Al Jazeera journalist will shut off someone because he had a different opinion. an opinion that is different from their agenda. This Palestinian man in a Gaza hospital was being interviewed by an Al Jazeera journalist on live television. Immediately, the man started asking why Hamas operatives hide in hospitals and behind civilians. He cut him off. Let's take a listen.
فوق ال 15 20 دار هذا منطق، هذا عمل انساني، هذا عمل اجرامي. وبعدين بالنسبه للمقاومه اللي بتيجي بتخبى بين الناس، ليش تخبى بين الناس؟ يروح في جهنم يتخبى.
يعني هذه شهادات من المواطنين.
This is not an isolated case. There are many cases. These people are among many Palestinians that are against Hamas, but it's not written on their faces. Until you interview them, you will hear their true feelings. That's how another Al Jazeera journalist found out that this gentle-looking Gazan has harsh words for not just Hamas, but Qatar too, for their support for Hamas. He couldn't take the criticism. He had to push the man away. The man kept telling him to hand over the mic so he can finish the job, but this man will never be given a mic on Al Jazeera television again.
يعني لو تحدثنا أكثر عن
المجازر اللي بتصير هذه مجازر الناس مدنية، أنا أطفال كلهم أطفال وأولاد صغار، كلهم أطفال وأولاد صغار. حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل على قطر وعلى تركيا وعلى
إلا يعني إحنا هنا قضيتنا قضية إنسانية بصراحة، القضية إنسانية ونتابع المشاهد.
You think you've seen it all? No, there's another one. This lady is a Palestinian and she's speaking out against Hamas.
الفلسطيني عدوك مش إسرائيل، عدوك حماس. حماس هي العدوة. لو إنهم حماس مهتمين وهمهم همهم الطفل الفلسطيني وهمهم القضية، كان ما كتبوا الشارتر تبعهم بالطريقة اللي كتبوها.
Now to the man that couldn't take a taste of his own medicine. Yes, the United States is the land of free speech where everybody can freely express themselves the way they want. But someone like this guy feels only him has the right of free speech. He became visibly angry when a billboard truck arrived the scene of the pro-Hamas rally. He went as far as calling on the police to remove the truck, that they own the streets of Washington, D.C.
Their trucks are in our own streets, not inside the embassy. And I would love to see our police removing their trucks from our streets. These are American streets. These are American streets. These are our streets. They're not Tel Aviv streets. They're not in Netanya. They're in Washington, D.C. They are our streets. And you removed us from there.
What intolerance! Everyone has a right of free speech. You can agree or disagree with the person, but you can't shut down someone's voice. Common sense dictates that after someone failed in past ventures, he should have learned some lessons from the failures so as not to repeat them in the future. Hamas and their supporters have not learned anything from history. Since Hamas came to power in Gaza, they've always been the first to attack Israel. In the end, they never succeed. Israel always wins. So isn't it common sense that Hamas should change strategy? Because it is obvious their strategy is not working. Yes, they should change strategy, but unfortunately, Israel won't be giving them the chance this time around to change the strategy. Not just Hamas, but neighboring Arab countries who tried many times invading Israel, but they didn't succeed. That's why many of them changed strategy, realizing that it's better to be friends than enemies. Egypt was among the first to change the strategy and took the initiative and made peace with Israel, as well as other countries. So the question remains, why do they keep doing something that doesn't work? Thanks for watching.